Hey guys, it is, oh my gosh, this 3-day weekend's messing me up. It is Saturday. I've been doing some work and I did some videos for each panel, but here's the thing, it's kind of redundant. So, I'm going to show you where I'm at here. Now, I'm going to flip this around. Alright, so the first thing you saw, the first thing we did color-wise with this was, putting the yellow here. Let me try to get the shadow there. There we go. So I put the yellow on the back, which turned out perfect. But then, it was right before bedtime. I was doing the front, okay? So I was doing the front, but when I sprayed on that lacquer over top of it, I was going a little bit too slow. So every time that seam from the spray ended, and then I hung it up, it would start to run. So it was kind of like what happened with my guitar with the spray lacquer. So I ended up legitimately taking hardcore 60 grain, going all the way through all the lines, and it went through some of the yellow, and then I went back on and I put yellow on top of it, and then just made sure that I was laying down thin lines, because I'll use the spray between colors because it dries fairly quickly and it's just a little quick thing to seal in the color. And then, I put the clear coat on, and this turned out really well, nice even. And then also at the same time, after fixing that, I went through and I put the yellow on the sides as well. Okay? So you can still see, again, this is what it looks like regularly. I have not done the yellow up here. It becomes a little bit tedious. Let me see if it's going to focus on this for me. There we go. When you get in here and when you get up underneath here. So, I tried to get this as smooth as possible, just like the other ones, because it is, again, if you got rough spots in here, it's really hard to spread this through a lot, especially with your finger. So I use like a little brush to get down in. I do that on the sides too. When I put it down here, you can see I missed a little spot right here, so I'm gonna have to go put some more color in there. But I use a brush to try to fill in the seams. You can see a little wood spot there too. So I'm going to do another layer of yellow over this, and then we are going to, got all my messy stuff I'm working here. So I would like to say that I left this right here to show all of you guys the importance of keeping a clean workstation, but I just forgot to pick it up when I went to bed last night. So this right here, that'll all be cleaned, okay? And you guys can see here, I'm kind of planning ahead. I'm approaching... really starting to move forward with this Blue Meanie here. It looks perfect. I'm so afraid of messing this up. Oh, my cat wants to say hi. Hey, Ruba, you're going to help me out here? Yeah, so here's what we got. These are the pickups for this guitar over here. Each one, and you can see on top of it, you see there's an N there. Oh, I need to get you down. I need a table space. There you go. Good kitchen. All right. So with the red wire is the neck one, so that's the one that's going to be up here because it's right next to the neck. Then the one with the black is B for your bridge. I mean, really all this is, it's got a little magnet in there, and it's got a coil of wire around there which comes out with these guys. Okay, so that's how these work. These are called passive pickups because they're not getting any sort of voltage from a battery. Like in one of my guitars, I have to use a 9-volt battery. Which, I mean, it sounds great, except when you have a concert, you got to make sure that you replace the battery before you do the concert, because that creates awkwardness in the middle of a concert when your guitar dies. Not that I would know from firsthand experience. Awkward silence. I really do know from that because it happened to me. You live and you learn, though. All right, so, and it also comes with these guys here. Now, I've replaced pickups on one of my guitars already, but the easy part about that was on my one guitar, when you take the top off and they're attached to the back, you take a picture of all the wires, so you know where everything goes back. When you put in the new ones, just line up the wires the same way. Oh, hello again. So this one, I'm really going to try to do some research, find some wiring diagrams, because my kit unfortunately did not come with one. But so what we have here is a cat that is in sore need of attention. Can Daddy finish what he's doing first? Come here. Come on. Come on down. All right, I will be with you in a minute. So this guy right here should be a three-way switch. Yep. All right, so that's going to be the pickup selector. So when you have it all the way down, it's going to pick up one. If you have it in the middle, it's going to pick up both. If you have it up top, it's going to pick up the neck. So that's the way this little 3-toggle switch works. Okay? All right, so here's the jack that is going to where you plug the guitar into. That's going to sit right there. Okay? That's easy. And then we have 4 switches. So there's going to be a volume and there's going to be a tone. And I mean, without doing research right now, I can't tell you which one's which. So I'm really going to have to just research this before I do this. So 2 of them have this thing. So they're going to be 2 of the similar styles. And then these 2 don't. So I would... Let's see. I could be wrong. I got a 50-50 shot. But with that, before researching, I'm going to say these are the 2 volume and these are the 2 tone. This looks like maybe some resistor in here. Actually, to be honest with you, that may mean volume. I'm just speculating, so I'm going to do some research, but this is going to be the hard part. And once that's in there, everything else, all the other parts are just installing. You know what I mean? This kit did not come with these little screws that go in here, so before I get those screws in there, I ordered them, and they should be here this week. But, you know, these without those screws, these things wobble. So I'm going to have to take some time, really label them, or, you know, line them up so they're not uneven, and then mark the holes. They're just little, really tiny gold screws that come with these. This brand is called Grover, and that is really the level of, here you see Grover right there. These are the type that you would actually be, you know, you would actually put on some really good Gibson guitars. Now, I'm looking at this. And you see they only go on one way, but I was just looking at my Gibson that I have in my grandfather's old Gibson, and I think the screw might be on the bottom side. So what I may have to do is just take these off and switch sides. So then we put this guy over here and so on. I'll just double check that before I actually put the screws in. These guys are only attached. This is literally just a little bushing that screws onto it. So you can actually, I just take that off. So you kind of get them where they need to go. Then you mark where the screw hole is, put that screw in there, then you can tighten this down. Because without the screw, if I tighten this down, it wants to turn this guy one way or another. And you can see it wants to turn it all the way when you do that. So that's the process for that. These are really nice. When I saw that Grover on there, which that's the type that is on, I have a 1946 Gibson from my grandfather, and that's the type, when he did a restoration, I wish they would have put period correct, but they still put Grover on there, and it's really good. Here, let me just throw this guy up there. Okay, put this wires over here. All right, so I know I've said this, and I was just talking with my friend who went to college with me, who was a musical director for Carnival Cruise and was a guitar player in our jazz band as well as on the cruise ships. But the Gibson I have, here I'll flash forward right quick. I'll go to my room, I'll show this to you. Give me one second. Here we are. And again, cat number 2. This is the sister of the attention deprived one. I say attention deprived, but she gets a bunch of attention. She just always wants more. And yeah, we got a nice little cat bed right there. And this cat is laying on our bed. Cat bed. It's where she should be. It looks pretty comfortable. 2 cat beds. Cat on our bed. All right, so here we go. You know, I tell my kids all the time that, or students as well, sorry, that's what I meant by when I said my kids, but my favorite guitar brand is Gibson, and, you know, teach your budget. We can't ever afford Gibson. That's why I have Epiphones, which I love. And this says Guild here. I always wonder why he had this Guild guitar case, because that's a brand of guitar as well. But my grandfather was in a bluegrass group back in the 50s and the 60s. And it was called the Nawmans, Nawmans, I believe. But he played guitar, and it was a singer. And this was literally the guitar that he used to make money to feed my mom when she was a baby. So it's incredibly meaningful. And I had it just, you know, gone over and put back together. And I finally got one of my other pieces to replace it, but this is a 1946 Gibson ES 300. It doesn't have it, like I said. All right, so here we go. It is a hollow body electric. When I say hollow body and or semi-hollow body, yeah, let me get this. I just finally got a strap that goes with this guy too. So these guys have sound holes just like on the one that I'm making. And then this is the bridge, and you can see when I was talking about the gold tailpiece, this is a regular tailpiece. It looks like it might have been shiny way back when, but again, it's a 75-year-old guitar. Original tailpiece, original bridge, original switches. When we go up here, you see that apparently my grandfather lost one of these little inlays here, and you can always replace it, but it kind of gives it character. And then something that you may see on old finishes, but it has that little, I don't know what they call it, but it's not crack. The wood's not cracking. It's, again, literally, these used to be white. So this is older than my dad. This is 1946. Okay, get up here. This was even before they went to our current Gibson logo. You can see the Gibson is actually in cursive, and that stopped in the 40s. And this is dusty. I gotta go through and clean all this. But you can see what I was saying with these are the tuners, and they're a little bit, I gotta clean them up. But these are Grover tuners that my grandfather had put on late 80s, early 90s, I want to say. Okay, so this is a pick guard. I literally just put this one on, and I replaced this bracket because it was broken. You can see this is the older screw that goes through here because the one that fit with the bracket was a little bit too short. So, and then I don't know if you can understand this, but I had to screw into 75-year-old guitar. It's quite anxiety level, but it ended up working out really well. So the one that originally my grandfather had put on, it was taller than this. So this little arm right here was way too high. And this is kind of mimic what they call tortoise shell, which is something that would have come on. Oh, and I love this too. This was a screw that it literally just goes down into the top of the guitar. I don't like that at all, but that's how it was designed, you know. So let me show you where I was at here. I'm going to move this up and over. Okay. I'm kind of bummed that the logo is flaking, but again, you know, for its age, I love it. All right, so I say tortoise shell. This is an actual tortoise shell pickguard that came on this thing. And you can see it just starts deteriorating over the years. So what my grandfather did is he put this just little thin plastic one. This would be where that screw was in there. See how thin it is? It is just wobbly. And originally he had it glued right here onto that arm, and he had this glued just right on top of it like this. You know, and that would have been, it kind of mimicked what would have looked on there, because they either had the tortoiseshell or they had a black, clear plastic looking, I think it's still a tortoiseshell, but they had the white around the outside. So this thing was taken off because it's literally deteriorating. I just kept it because it was original, with this guitar anyway. And then you can also see some of the old strings that my grandfather left in there. And then it's just my capo, but yeah, some really old stuff that he just kept in. I just keep them in there because it's really cool. But this was the only thing that was on there, and it wasn't attached to the bracket. Let's see if I kept the bracket at all. I don't see why I would have, but oh, apparently he's got a key for this case. Good to know. And you can see pieces of that tortoiseshell that are just falling in there. Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. Yeah, then also he used to sit here and play this and the harmonica to us when we were little. So I have pictures of him playing this in the 50s, pictures of him playing it to us when we were young, and he passed away in 96, so I was just before my 13th birthday, and it just stayed there until I was about 20, and my grandmother was cleaning out some stuff, and yeah, it just needed a little bit of TLC, but the bones were still really good, so now it works perfectly, you know. But I got rid of this little thing because it was screwed up to the top, and then this thing, you can see there was a lot of glue because he glued it on there, but after that one fell down, he glued this to that little arm that you can see underneath the pick guard. And it would literally just flap. So it sounded really good when you were playing it. Ugh. But, you know, I just wanted to mimic the tortoiseshell a little bit, and you can buy an original one, but they're going to be a couple $100. And, you know, long run, that's what I'm going to put on there. But for right now, I wanted to put something that was really cool looking and, you know, somewhat correct for what was going on. So I took the screw out. And this is, you can see it's a ply design. There's actually different layers of this. So it's not actually turtle shell, but it mimics the pattern of a tortoiseshell pickguard. Now this guy right here, it screws right into here. Now I have this guy. This is actually from the old bracket because it needs to go past this sound hole, and then it has just a little, not plastic, not rubber, kind of in between thing that sits on the top, and then this. You can screw it. I just, you know, I'm not gonna have this on here forever. I'm eventually gonna replace it with something period correct, but I actually just used a polyurethane adhesive and just, you know, I had one of my clamps, you know, right up through the sound hole and just held that on there for all day yesterday. So now the thing doesn't flap around. It's solid on there, and now I can actually, you know, play it without that flapping sound. But this has become my pride and joy. Now, I always joke about, you know, if you want to talk about country music or bluegrass in particular, and if you don't know what the word key signature means, most of old country or bluegrass stuff is in the key of G, okay? So when I'm playing my key of G, it's down here, the G chord sits right here like this, or you can do one of the older ones like that and just do it like that, okay? So my grandfather played a whole lot of G major stuff, and what has happened from years of doing that, ooh, this little spot right here is literally from where my grandfather's thumb wore away the finish. And it's just another one of those things that's just a lot of character about this. But these things, well, they range in value. This is clearly something that I couldn't just go out and buy, but I was lucky enough to have that it wasn't destroyed throughout the years, and now I get to enjoy it and play it. But the main reason I wanted to show you this is because this one is a legitimate hollow body. There's no supports on the inside except on the upside of the top plate. They'll have some bracing on the top, but as far as inside, it is legitimately hollow all the way through, just like a regular acoustic guitar. Now, what I found out when I plug this in, it sounds really good through an amplifier, but occasionally, and after talking with some guitar players much better than me, there are certain chords, and it's guitar specific, but that you just get crazy feedback from the amplifier. And there's really nothing you can do about it, and that's why this little guy came off down here. And that's why they came up with the semi-hollow body to try to alleviate that. So give me one sec. I'll be back here we are back in the office. Flip it around here. All right, so you can see where the design of this, even though this is thinner, you know, that same type of body came from that older style. So this is this mimics a Gibson ES 335, which is predominantly used in jazz. I just really like the design. I know Keith Urban uses a 335 design for a lot of his live performances. Yeah, so I'm excited. All right, so you can see here, when we drill down in there, if this was a legitimate hollow body, there wouldn't be wood right here. There wouldn't be wood on the side. It looks like layered plywood here, block in the middle. Oh, it may not be plywood. It may just be different layers of wood put together. But so semi-hollow body, what that means, I think I know I've mentioned it before, but as opposed to just being hollow on the inside, which that can produce some feedback issues when you plug it in, this one has a block of wood, or you can see right here, it looks like different layers, and they use a router just to do this out here. But it starts right up here and it goes all the way back. So you still get some of the benefits of a hollow body sound, clearly the look, which is amazing, and you get less feedback through the amplifier. So this would be considered semi-hollow body electric. And then the 46 in there is a legitimate hollow body electric. And I'll have to show it to you guys. Again, I'm not the greatest guitar player. I know enough to get through stuff, but I'll just be playing it through my amplifier. I even hooked it up through my distortion pedal. You'll just see what it sounds like, and it was awesome. And then just randomly, I'll just be playing stuff, and all of a sudden the feedback was through the roof, screeching sounding, and I have to reach down and turn off the amp. So, I mean, that may just be one of the curses of, I could have been too close to the amplifier, because I was back over on the side of my bed there, and I plugged in everything over there over break to just play it. So I could have been just too close to it. So, a weird thing was I have some inexpensive wireless transmitters that I hook up and I use on my guitars at school so that I can walk around, and while we're doing activities and I'm playing the guitar, I'm not tethered to the amplifier with my cable. I can actually get up and move around and, dance around like an idiot sometimes, which is always kind of fun. So I hooked up I had my cheap wireless. Now I have a more expensive wireless that I invested in a while ago, and when I was doing some pro wrestling matches, I would play my violin down to the ring, so I would just have that wireless transmitter on an acoustic violin. I had a pickup attached to the bridge, and I would just play my own entrance music down. And I really had to make sure I had a really good one, because I could, fire halls and anywhere else we would wrestle. Outside one time, I know one of the battle royals I was in, I was outside, so I had to play. And if I had a cheap transmitter, you just don't get that good reliable signal when because the sound system's all the way in the back, and you got to play down to the ring. So you're 20, 30 meters away, and you have a cheap connection, it's just going to cut out. So I'm curious to try that one with the Gibson. But where I was going with that, and I'm sorry I got sidetracked, but with the cheap ones, and they were from the Wish app, and they work really well in class. But I brought them home to try out over break on the Gibson, and after plugging in the Gibson and playing it, and it sounds great, occasionally some feedback stuff, but give it a minute and it goes away, and put some electric contact cleaner up inside there just to make sure the connection's good. But put the cheaper ones in the Gibson, and it didn't work at all, which was weird. I don't know if it's just something, I don't know enough about the vintage electronics in there and how the pickups that I have work. But all right. Sorry, this turned into way more me rambling than I expected. So, today I get to do my taxes. But I am today and or a little bit tomorrow. I'm probably not going install these. Sometimes I'm the guy that really likes to research so I can be confident about something before I can do it. If I had another version of these, then it wouldn't be an issue. But the backups that I do have, I know will work, I know fit, and they already came with wire connections, plug and play kind of thing, which means I'm going to have to take them off to put the wires through, but then it just, they snap back in there. And that's really easy, except this part on those is silver, which will, you saw I had a tailpiece picture here and everything. It's going to ruin the look I have. Partly curious on whether or not I can remove this top, because I know I would have to remove the black to use with them, because what came with some weird khaki color thing, but you guys can see on here it's silver. So if I can take the top off of those and put them on here, worst case I can keep that gold, because you guys can see here we have a beautiful gold tailpiece that goes along with it. The tuners are gold with those, with those guys are gold. I just don't want to ruin that look, because that gold looks amazing with the blue. So, but yeah, I may hold off on doing that until I can research more. But I am going to do more on my violin. Okay. Now we don't add, and I forgot to add the little yellow right here when I do this. See, there's a spot where you can see I didn't get the yellow all the way up there, so I'll use like a little brush to help that and kind of smooth it out. The color on the violin is only going to come up to about here, because I keep this just bare wood, and then I end up doing a clear coat over top of that. But I will add the yellow to the scroll and the peg box, and then I will do I may actually just go through and do all of it at the one time. I mean, I like to do them panel by panel, so there's less chance of getting paint everywhere, but it takes a little bit longer. So I'm going to try to finish out the yellow before we get back to school on Monday. Then I'll start adding the reddish brown that I decided to go with on top of that. And then I'll show you, once I get that first layer on there, you know, I'll be doing the back first with that. So I'll put that yellow or reddish brown on here, and then this will be underneath that. So if I don't remove any of the brown, you're not going to see this, but I'll try to remove it in places that get held a lot, like right here. That always gets held a lot. Same thing with on this side. And when you sit it down, because remember, this is curved here, so right up the middle over the years, that brown would wear through a little bit. And so this is the color that you would see through as I, you know, gently remove spots to make it look a little bit more aged and weathered. Yeah, so I'll show you that once I get to that. But yep, first layer of yellow aside from up here is done. And it came out really good. And I'm going to go sand this a little bit, but you know, that spray, you can see it's very shiny. You can see a little rough spot right in the middle of that glare right there, so I'm going to sand that out. But very little sanding that actually has to be going down on here before I put the next layer on. So have a good rest of the weekend, guys.